Hey, so welcome to practice. Today I'm going to guide you through a flow that has some twists and some movement around the mat. So really connecting breath to movement and flow to get into the body and create some space. So with that in mind, let's come to a seated position. I'm going to be kneeling. So if kneeling's not great for you, you can sit cross-legged or have a little cushion. And have the hands just tenting the fingers. No. How many minutes? I want to scrap that. Hey, welcome to practice. Thank you for joining. Today I'm going to guide you through a flow that works into the side body with twists and also works around the mat, really allowing us to connect the breath to the movement and connect into the body. It's quite grounding. So let's come to a seated position. I'm going to be cross-legged. And let's start with having the hands resting on the thighs, just lifting up through the crown of the head and closing down the eyes, coming into the body. Noticing how the body's feeling. You're feeling tired, energetic. Maybe there's some places holding on to things or places that are sore. Noticing them. And notice where your head is at. Maybe you've got lots of thoughts going on. Maybe you feel quite tired. Maybe you feel quite energized, ready for action. Just seeing what comes up and being with it. Starting to deepen the breath. Breathing it all the way down to the base of the spine. Letting the belly swell, the ribs expand, the chest expand, up to the tops of the collarbones. Exhaling with a big sigh. Just letting it all go. Taking another big full deep breath. Belly, ribs, chest. And another sigh, just releasing, letting go of the thoughts, the stories. From top to bottom. Taking another full deep breath. Another sigh. Just let it go. Bringing the hands to prayer at heart space. Setting an intention for the practice. Something that works with where you're at today. A word or a phrase you can return to. Something to carry you through the practice. Your day, your week. Releasing the prayer, bringing the hands just behind the hips, tenting the fingers. It doesn't matter which way they're turning, or you can have the hands flat. Now I like to have them tented and press the hands in to the mat. Fingers lifting up through the crown of the head. And keeping the eyes closed, breathing down to the base of the spine and breathing, thinking about the breath traveling down through the hands, the fingers, all the way into the ground, just feeling that connection. And you can sigh again if it serves you. Inhaling, sweeping the hands up towards the ceiling into prayer. Exhaling, interlacing the hands, palms facing out, tucking, rounding through the chin. Inhaling, lifting, reaching back up, hands in prayer, opening up, looking up, opening up through the chest. And then exhaling, interlacing the hands, palms facing out, tucking, rounding, creating that lovely C-shaped curve. One more, inhaling, opening up. Exhaling, interlacing, palms facing out, tucking, rounding. Extending the hands forward, coming to our 4-point base, so hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Inhaling up through the right arm. Exhaling, threading the right arm underneath the left. Inhaling, lifting, opening. Exhaling, rounding. This is like giving yourself a hug. Inhaling, lifting, reaching. Exhaling, rounding through. Letting the shoulder rest on the mat, the head rest on the mat. You can extend the left hand forward. Or you can sweep the left arm around, taking a hold of the hip crease, working to where you need a stretch through your shoulders. Bring the left hand back around, lifting back up through the right, placing it back down on the mat. And from here, we're going to extend the right arm forward, the left leg back. And exhaling, tucking, rounding. Inhaling, stretching, reaching. Exhaling, tucking, rounding. One more, stretching, reaching. Tucking, rounding. Coming back to our 4-point base, kick-starting the left foot out to the left. Extending up through the right, coming onto the inner edge of the right foot into gate. Think about being light through the left hand. Think about this left hip tucking under. Think about opening through the hips, opening through the chest. Lifting, reaching, feeling that line of energy. You can sweep the right arm over to the right side of the face. And you can hover the right foot. Think about stacking the hips, stacking the shoulders. Sweeping the right arm around, bending the knee. You can catch a hold of the foot, kicking in. Opening up through the chest. Lovely, releasing the foot, releasing the hand, coming back to your 4-point base. Inhale, lifting up through the left arm, threading the left arm underneath the right, giving yourself a big hug. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding. One more, inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, rounding, letting the shoulder rest on the mat, letting the left side of the head rest on the mat. Here you can extend the right arm forward, or you can sweep it around behind the back, taking hold of the hip crease. 2 very different stretches through the shoulder, so work to what you need, what your body needs. Just breathing into that space between the shoulder blades. Bringing the right hand back under the shoulder, sweeping the left arm up, placing the left hand back on the mat. From here, we're going to extend the right leg back, the left leg forward. Exhaling, tucking, rounding. Inhaling, stretching, reaching, also being pulled diagonally apart. Exhaling, tucking, rounding. One more, extending, reaching. And then placing the right knee back on the ground, kickstanding the right leg out to the right, lifting up through the left arm, coming into gate, and the inner edge of the left foot coming into gate on the other side. Thinking about a lightness through the supporting hand. And think about tucking this right hip in. Think about opening through the chest, almost leaning back into your back. Your back is a wall and you're leaning back into it. And you can sweep the left arm over by the left cheek. Feeling that lovely long line of energy from thumb to heel. And then extend, lifting up through the left leg. Sweeping the left arm around, catching a hold of the foot, kicking the foot into the hand. Releasing the foot, coming back to your 4-point base. Tucking the toes, lifting up through the hips. Coming into downward facing dog. And here you can pedal out the dog, bending into one knee, followed by the other. Letting the head be heavy, just releasing through. Sliding the shoulders down the back. Inhaling, rippling forward into plank. Bending the knees, pushing the hips back towards the heels, lifting back up and through. Inhaling, rippling forward vertebra by vertebra, head and neck, the last two unfurled. Bending the knees, pushing back through the hips, lifting back up and through. And one more, inhaling, rippling forward. Bending the knees, pushing back up, lifting back up into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift right leg. Stepping right foot between right hand, lowering down through the left knee, we lift up, Anjaneyasana. Exhaling, rotating to the right, extending the right arm back, the left arm forward, and then sweeping around, lifting, reaching up. Framing the front foot, stepping back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting left leg, stepping left foot between the hands, lowering down through the right knee. We lift up, Anjaneyasana. Rotating to the left arm behind, right arm in front. Sweeping the left arm around, lifting, reaching up. Framing the front foot. So I'm stepping the right foot up to meet the left in a forward fold. Pressing through all four corners of the feet, slowly start to roll up vertebra by vertebra. Drawing the shoulders up towards the ears, sliding them down the back, bringing the hands to prayer at heart space. Returning to the breath, returning to your intention. Maybe taking another big sigh here on the exhale, just letting it go. As we move through some flow now. Bending the knees, sinking down into the hips, coming into Utkatasana. Feet can be hip width or together, toes touching. Inhaling, coming up to standing, sweeping the arms around behind, lifting, placing them onto the bony part of the spine, lifting up, opening up through the chest. Exhaling, bringing the fingers down around in front of the hip creases, start to forward fold. Releasing the hands. Inhaling, halfway lift, arms by sides. Lowering back down. Inhaling, reaching, lifting up. Exhaling, bending the knees, sinking back down into the hips, coming back into your Utkatasana. Sweeping the arms around behind, placing the heels of the hands on the hip crease as we come up to standing, opening up through the chest, the whole front body. Lovely work. Sweeping the hands around so they come into the hip crease as we forward fold. Releasing the hands, halfway lift and lower. Inhaling, reaching, lifting up. Exhaling, bending the knees, sinking down into the hips, coming back into your Utkatasana. Inhaling, grounding down through the left foot, lifting up the right, kickstanding it out to the side, bringing the hands to prayer at heart space, sweeping it around as though you're pushing it out and around, keeping the hips stable, stepping back with the right foot, extending, lifting the arms up, straightening through the front leg and pivoting towards the back edge of your mat. So you may need to do a little foot shuffle here, but we're looking for feet on train tracks. Legs are straight, extending the arms up, sweeping them down around behind, either holding opposite shoulders or taking reverse prayer. As we inhale, lift up, exhaling, tipping forward into pyramid pose. Think about this right hip looking back, letting the head be heavy, scissoring the hips together. Inhaling, coming back up to standing. This time placing the heel of the hand on the bony part of your spine, the sacrum there. We lift up through the left arm. Exhaling, reaching forward, bringing the body, the arm parallel to the floor, the mat. And then placing the left hand on top of the right shin or just outside, using the arm as a lever, opening up into a evolved triangle. And here you can extend the right arm up. Again, that scissoring action with the hips, really drawing back with the right hip crease. And remembering to breathe. If your right arm is extended, placing it back down, hand on hip, softening into this right leg as we transfer the weight into the front foot, extending the left hand forward, lifting up into evolved half moon. Think about really engaging in this left glute, foot is flexed, the leg is active. It's a super wobbly, but maybe the foot just hovers, maybe it extends right up. And maybe you can extend the right arm up. Lovely work, lowering back down through the left leg, sweeping the left arm up, coming up into a high lunge. Grounding down through the left heel, opening out into warrior two. Making sure this knee is in line with the heel. So you may need to go and do a little foot shuffle before we move around the mat. A bit of foot shuffling is required, but then coming to stillness. With every exhale, could you sink a little deeper? Inhaling, straightening through the front leg, pigeon toeing the feet to the long edge of the mat, tipping forward, coming into prasarita. So hands can be under shoulders, or you can start to walk the hands back so that the heels of the hands are in line with the heels of the feet. Moving the weight into the balls of the feet, letting the head be heavy, the neck long. Lovely. Start to walk the hands around to frame the left foot, taking the left leg up, coming into your three-legged dog. And here you can lower the leg or ripple forward into your vinyasa. Chaturanga or knees chaturanga. Baby cobra or up dog. Lifting back up and through into downward facing dog. Inhale, sliding the shoulders down the back, letting the head be heavy. Exhaling to the side. Taking another big deep breath. And another sigh out. Bending the knees, gaze forward, either step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift and lower. Inhaling, reaching, lifting up. Exhaling, hands to prayer, heart space. Bending the knees, sinking down into the hips, coming back into Utkatasana. This time grounding through the right foot, lifting up through the left, start to kickstand that leg out to the side and sweeping it around and back, behind. Grounding down through the back left heel, straightening through the front leg. As we pivot, you bring the hands to prayer, heart space, pivot to face the back edge of the mat. So setting up for pyramid pose on the other side, making sure feet are on train tracks. Lift the arms up, sweeping them around, either holding opposite shoulders or taking reverse prayer. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Exhaling, tipping forward from the hips. Letting the head be heavy, the neck long. Legs are stronger, pressing up through the feet, scissoring the hips together. Really think about this left hip moving back and up. Lovely work. One more big deep breath. Inhaling, coming up to standing, placing the left hand on the base of the spine, lifting up through the right arm. Exhaling, tipping forward, bringing the body, the arm parallel to the ground, the mat, reaching, placing the right hand on top of the left shin or just outside, opening up through the chest. Here you can extend the left arm up. Again, scissoring the hips together, creating the twist comes from the ground up. So think about your connection with the feet to the mat. Bringing the left hand back onto your hip. We're going to transfer the weight into the left foot, softening the knee, extending the right arm forward, engaging in the right glute, flexing the foot as we lift up into evolved half moon. Now this is a super, evolved triangle is a wobbly pose. This is even wobblier. So embrace the wobbles and you can maybe just hover the foot or have it tapping or really engage. If you really want to go for it, really engaging in the foot, lifting, reaching up. Maybe you can extend the left arm up. Can always bend the foot, catch a hold of it, take the bind. Lovely work. Bringing both hands onto the mat, slowly lowering down through the right leg. Inhale, lift up, coming up into high lunge. From here, grounding down through the right foot, cartwheeling the arms, open into warrior two. May need a bit of foot shuffling here just to ensure you've got the heel to arch alignment, knees in line with the ankle. And think about dropping down through the right hip, next lifting up through the left, creating that space through the hips. It's a hip opener. Extending the arms, gazing over the left hand. I can't turn around to face you, otherwise I'll get mixed up as to which direction we're meant to be. With every exhale, could you sink a little deeper? Tearing the mat apart with both feet. Really think about the connection of the back foot with the mat. Inhaling, straightening up through the legs. This time, opening the feet out wide to the long edge of your mat. Inhale, lift the arms up, opening up through the chest like a star. Bringing the hands to prayer at heart space, bending down into the knees, coming into goddess. And think about being heavy through the hips here. So the hips are really sinking down. We don't want this, it's not like this. Sinking down through the hips, tall through the spine, and breathing into it. Lovely work. Inhaling, coming up to standing, straightening the legs, cartwheeling the hands over to frame the right leg, sweeping the right leg up into a three-legged dog. And here you have the option to come through a three-legged vinyasa or a regular vinyasa, going through your chaturanga, so either chaturanga or knees chaturanga, baby cobra or up dog, lifting back up and through into downward facing dog. Inhaling, softening through the knees, lifting up through the sit bones. Exhaling, maybe even sighing, just letting it go. Bending the knees, gaze forward in a step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift and lower. Inhaling, reaching, lifting up. Exhaling, hands to prayer at heart space. Returning to your breath, returning to your intention. Bending the knees, sinking down into the hips, coming back into Utkatasana. This time grounding down through the right foot, lifting up through the left foot. Kickstanding the left leg around with a sweep it back around again. Stepping back, grounding down, this time lifting up into warrior one. Think about sinking down into this front knee. Think about the engagement of the left foot with the mat, the heel, the outer edge of the foot, lifting, reaching up. Straightening through the front leg, sweeping the left arm around, arms parallel. So you should be pretty much aligned for you to go into Trikonasana. Just check your feet. Reaching forward with the right hand, lowering down, lifting up. Think about, again, as I cued at the beginning of the class, tucking in this right hip. Think about leaning into the shoulder blades. Your back is a wall. Placing the left hand on the hip, softening into the right. We're going to come into half moon. So pressing, grounding down through the right foot, engaging in this left glute, lifting, reaching up. Foot is flexed, leg is active, extending the left arm up. Embracing the wobbles. Inhaling, coming back up to standing. Pivoting again towards the back edge of your mat. Sinking down into the left knee, coming into warrior two. Sweeping the right arm around to meet the left as we pivot onto the ball of the back foot, coming up into high lunge. Framing the front foot, sweeping the left leg up, coming into your three-legged dog. Option to go through a three-legged vinyasa or a regular vinyasa, or stand downward facing dog for 5 breaths. Rippling forward into plank, chaturanga, up dog. Lifting back up and through into downward facing dog. Taking a big sigh out, releasing, letting go. Bending the knees, gazing forward, either step or hop to the top of your mat. So we're facing the back edge of our mat now. Halfway lift and lower. Inhale, sweeping, lifting up. Bringing the hands to prayer heart space. Getting ready to reverse the other way. So bending the knees, sinking down into the hips, coming back into Utkatasana. Again, grounding down through this right foot, hovering the left foot up, sweeping it out and around. So kickstanding out to the side, sweeping up and around, stepping back with the left foot, lifting up into warrior one. Straightening through the front leg, sweeping the left arm around, coming out to the long edge of your mat and reaching forward with the right hand, coming into Trikonasana. Tucking in the right hip, opening up through the chest, breathing into the expansiveness of the pose. Placing the left hand on the hip, transferring the weight into the front foot as we lift up into half moon. Engaging in the left glute, flexing the foot, embracing the wobbles, maybe extending the left arm up. You can always give yourself a balance challenge to hover the right hand off the mat. Carefully stepping back, coming back up through standing, pivoting to the top edge of your mat now, coming in to warrior two. Sweeping the right arm around to meet the left, lifting up, high lunge. Framing the front foot, sweeping the left leg back up, coming into three-legged dog. Option to go through a three-legged vinyasa, a regular vinyasa, or stay in downward facing dog for 5 breaths, or come into child's pose. Lifting, reaching up. Exhaling. And we all meet in downward facing dog. Inhaling, drawing the breath down to the base of the spine, exhaling with a sigh. Inhaling, softening the knees, gazing forward, either step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, lower. Pressing through all 4 corners of the feet, we reach up, lift up. Exhaling, hands to prayer at heart space. Returning to your breath, returning to your intention. Bending the knees. Now we go the other way, sinking down into the hips, lifting, reaching up, Utkatasana. Rounding down into the left foot this time, lifting up through the right leg, kick standing out to the side, sweeping it around, stepping back into warrior one, opening up through the chest. Straightening through the legs, sweeping the arms parallel, rotating to the long edge of your mat, leaning forward with the left hand, we come into Trikonasana. Placing the right hand on the hip, extending the left arm forward. You can then engage in this right glute, lifting up through the leg, coming into half moon. Noticing how one side is quite different to the other. Maybe extending the right arm up. Lovely work, slowly stepping back carefully, coming back up through, bending into the right knee, coming into warrior two towards the back of your mat. Sinking down into the hips. Sweeping the left arm around, we lift up, high lunge. Framing the front foot, sweeping the right leg up, coming into our three-legged dog. Option to go through a three-legged, regular vinyasa, or stay in downward facing dog, or come into child's pose. And lifting up, we all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, taking a big breath down to the base of the spine. Exhale, maybe sign. Inhaling, softening the knees, gaze forward, either step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift and lower. Inhaling, reaching, lifting up. Hands to prayer at heart space. Final side, final round. Yay, bending the knees, sinking down into the hips, lifting, reaching up. Grounding down into the left foot, kickstanding the right foot out to the right, sweeping the right leg around the back as we lift up. Warrior one. Sweeping the right arm around, straightening through both legs, reaching forward, coming into Trikonasana. Left hand inside left shin, opening up. Think about tucking in the left hip bone, leaning into your back as though it were a wall. Placing the right hand on the hip, we're going to move into the half moon again, so engaging in the right glute, transferring the weight into the left leg, sweeping, lifting up. Stacking the hips, opening through the shoulders. Maybe hovering the left hand off the mat. Beautiful work. Lowering the right foot rather down. Pivoting again to the top edge of your mat. Coming into warrior two. Sinking down. With every exhale, could you sink a little deeper? Sweeping the left arm around, lifting up into high lunge. Framing the front foot, sweeping the right leg back up, coming into our three-legged dog. Here you can come through three-legged vinyasa, a regular, or coming to downward facing, staying downward facing dog, or coming to child's pose. Your practice, work to what you need. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift right leg, bending the knee, stacking the hip. On the exhale, we're going to scorpion tail the knee around to the right tricep, across to the left, sweeping it back, lifting up. And we'll do that again, sweeping it around, across, back, and up. And again, sweeping it around, across, back, and up. Sweeping it around, this time stepping the right foot outside the right hand, lowering down through the left knee. Inhale, lift the right arm up, either sweeping it around behind your back or bending the left knee, catching a hold of the foot. Opening up through the chest, stretching into the hip. Lovely, releasing the hand back down, this time framing the front foot, the right foot, straightening through the front leg, pushing back, coming into Ardha Hanuman. Thinking about an openness through the chest. We're adding chest, chin to shin rather than tucking and rounding. And imagine someone has a belt and they're pulling between the hip creases there. So you're really, again, pushing that right hip back and up. We can tease it out, rocking forward, pushing back, rolling forward, and pushing back. You have the option here if you're feeling warm and you want to give it a go, coming and doing the coming into the full splits, full Hanuman. Lovely work. And well done if you tried the splits. It extends through. And if you try it on the other side, you notice how the sides are quite different. So then, as if you are in the full Hanuman, sliding the foot back. Now try. Pressing through the hands, tucking the toes of the back foot as we sweep the right leg back up into our three-legged dog. Coming back then, you have the option here to go through a three-legged vinyasa or a regular vinyasa. Rippling forward into plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Inhale, we lift up through the left leg, bending the knee, stacking the hip. Scorpion turning that knee around so to the left tricep, the right tricep, lifting up, back up and through. Again, sweeping it around to the left tricep, the right tricep, back and up. One more, sweeping it around, left tricep, right tricep, back up and through. Bringing the left foot outside the left hand, lowering down through the right knee. Sweeping the left arm around, and you can take either a hold of the hip crease or bend the left knee, right knee rather, catching a hold of the right foot. Opening up through the chest, breathing into the hip. Releasing the foot if you had a hold of it, sweeping the left arm around outside the left foot. As we slide the hips back, straightening through the front leg, flexing the foot, coming into Ardha Hanuman. Think about being an openness through the chest. Think about the hips drawing back. We can tease this out, rocking forward, pushing back, rocking forward, pushing back. And stay here doing this, or stay in Ardha Hanuman. Or if you want to give it a go, coming into the full splits on the other side. Again, noticing how one side is quite different to the other. I know mine is I can do it on one side and then, well, it just doesn't go as far for whatever reason. And if you've had a go or you've had enough, coming back through, framing the front left foot, sweeping it back up into your three-legged dog. Option to go through three-legged vinyasa, regular vinyasa, or staying downward facing dog, or coming to child's pose. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to ripple forward vertebra by vertebra. And on the exhale, slowly lower down all the way to the ground. The count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Bringing the arms by the sides. You're going to inhale, coming up into a locust. Engaging in the whole back body. Arms pulling back, hands pulling back, feet pulling back. Neck is long. Could you lift a little higher, reach a little further? Exhaling, releasing down, just letting the cheek rest on the mat. Now you can come into locust again, or you can come into bow. So If you're coming into bow, so like it's the same. If you're coming into bow, bend the knees, catching a hold of the ankles or the feet. Now inhale, kick the feet into the hands, and the chest and shoulders will lift back. Think about the inner thighs drawing in, the thighs drawing in and up, and breathe into it. Kicking, lifting, neck is long, not clenching the jaw. Would you kick a little higher? One more big deep breath. Lovely. Releasing. Coming onto the other cheek and then just walking the hips out. Placing the hands back under the shoulders, pushing back up and through into downward facing dog. Sweeping the right leg up, bringing the right knee behind the right wrist, shin along the mat as we set up for pigeon. Inhale, lifting up out of the torso. Start to walk the hands along the mat, so you're pulling your body along the mat, coming on to the elbows or extending the hands forward, letting the head rest on the hands or the mat. And drawing the breath down into the hip, just sinking, releasing, surrendering. Taking one more big deep breath, maybe even a sigh. Let it go. Start to walk the hands back up, tucking the toes of the back foot, lifting back up and through. Back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift up left leg, bringing left knee behind left wrist, shin along the mat, sliding the right leg back. Lifting up out of the hips. Start to walk the hands along the mat as though you're pulling your body along the mat. You come to rest on your elbows or let the head slide down onto the hands or the mat. Think about the breath, breathing it down into the left hip. Taking one more big deep breath. And a sigh. Slowly start to walk the hands back up. Coming onto your left sit bone, sweeping the right leg around. Slowly start to roll down vertebra by vertebra. Coming all the way down onto your back. Extending the left foot away, foot is flexed, drawing the right knee up towards your chest. With the left hand, taking the right knee across the body, extending the right arm out, gazing over at it. Let the shoulders be heavy. Deepening the breath. Lovely, drawing the knee back up towards the chest. Sliding the right leg along the mat. Drawing the left knee up. And with the right hand, taking the left knee across the body, extending the arm out, gazing over at the left hand. Shoulders are heavy on the mat. Just breathing into the twist. Lovely work. Coming back through to center, extending both legs along the mat. Let the feet be out wide, legs are heavy. Arms are out wide, palms facing up. Sliding the shoulders down the back. Closing down the eyes and coming into the body. With every exhale, would you sink a little deeper, letting the energy settle, melting into the mat. And keeping the breath slow and deep. Can you turn it into a whisper? Now you're more than welcome to stay, but if you're ready to return to the body with breath, deepening the inhalation, the exhalation. Extending the arms overhead, giving yourself a lovely long stretch. And then come to lie on your favourite side, drawing your knees up to your chest. The eyes closed or the gaze low,